Welcome into the latest edition then of Extra Time. Craig Burley, who is in some mood today, is joined by Frank Leboeuf as well. You shouted at Frank during the show today.
Yeah, well...
What angle's this? That's not good for your bald spot.
No. No. Next time I go to that angle, I'm going to find out where that gallery is, and I'm going to go up there. Say this very quietly in case HR hear it, but I'll strangle the director.
Lovely.
Anyway, so where's that freaking camera? Hey, listen, hey, Frank Lampard's beating me. He's gone, isn't it?
Right. Okay, so that's your solace. That's what you're taking.
Well, he's beating me, look.
Yeah, but Frank looks good bald. You look weird.
I'm not bald.
Yeah, but it's going here, isn't it?
Yeah, so what?
So you're not bothered, clearly. It doesn't bother you whatsoever.
Well, it's not news to me, put it that way. Anyway, why was my analogy horrible on the...
Because your analogy was you can't bet on a horse race when it's halfway round.
No.
But in the Premier League, you can bet when it's halfway round, can't you?
Yes. But you were asking Frank Leboeuf a direct question, right? Who is the favourite for the Premier League?
Yes.
And Frank said he wants to wait.
Right.
And I said to you, well, it's not like waiting for the Kentucky Derby to be halfway around before picking out a horse, is it?
But you can do that in football.
But that's not what you were asking him to do.
Well, I still don't...
You were asking him a
your
direct
analogy was
question.
terrible. Terrible analogy.
Just because you've had a tough day, because you're used to having softies in the studio.
Oh, really?
They just let you do what you want, and you know it's not going to happen with me.
Right, in your playing...
I think you must be hoping that the boss fires me. I'm not fired if it does, but...
I don't think I wield that sort of power.
I'm just going to make your life, and everybody else's, by the way, difficult.
Something to look forward to.
That's my New Year resolution. I'm going to get back.
It's not New Year's yet.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. Well, that's why I've not made my New Year's resolution yet.
I'm sure it was the same last year.
I'm going to get back to being really Mr. Nasty.
Oh, good. That's something to look forward to.
We started with Arsenal today.
Right, in your playing days, Frank, was there a team who played like Spurs do today? And if so, how did you approach playing against them?
Well, yeah, I guess some teams, but not teams from the top. It was mostly teams, from the, in bad position, almost relegation position, where they don't want to lose, so they all stay at the back. And but never had a team like that. I would say that I recall that only played defensively in counter-attack and to score goals. Never, no, never.
What about Wimbledon, Frank? Yeah. What about Wimbledon, that Wimbledon team that we played against?
Yeah, but because, they were struggling. I mean, I don't remember. It was a hard game. I remember the first game we played at home, we lost 4-2, but they didn't play in counter-attack. They were playing their games. When they had a chance to go forward, they were going forward, and they had talented forward players, but it's not like that. It wasn't on purpose that the top team decided only to defend and to counter-attack to score goals, and not willing, in fact, to get the possession of the ball. I don't want the possession of the ball, and I'm just playing counter-attack. I've never seen that during my career.
And they had Robbie Earle running about now and again.
Good old Robbie.
Now and again in the middle of the park. Whenever he thought there was going to be a chance of a goalie get in the box.
Robbo coached them for a bit, didn't he?
Robbo coached them?
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
Well, it was a bit of a mutiny against him, wasn't it?
A mutiny against Robbo?
Yes. Craig, what the hell's going on with Arsenal's discipline? 8 red cards since Arteta has joined. How much does that speak about Arsenal as a team?
Well, the trouble is you can tell your players till the cows come home about discipline, but when you have some of the idiotic decisions that these players have been making recently, then it's difficult, because what do? You obviously they're out of the team with suspension, but do you take them out of the team because they keep making bad decisions when you might not have the players to bring them in, other players to make the team better? It's difficult. He's going to have to figure it out. I mean, what else can you do apart from say to the likes of Gabriel and Granit Xhaka, who grabbed somebody to the show, listen, we can't, we're not good enough, right? We're not Liverpool and City. We can't play with 10 men and still win a game. We're struggling to win a game with 11. So we can't afford to be making these decisions. And if the players don't take that on board, you have to get rid of them. Otherwise, they'll get rid of you. Simple.
Frank, what do you all think about players celebrating against their former clubs, like Theo Walcott? Is it acceptable or should it be avoided?
It's not a problem for me. I mean, if the club or the fans didn't want, mostly the club didn't want him to celebrate against them, they should have kept him, you know, to make sure that he would celebrate for them. If they decided to get rid of him, it's because they thought he wasn't good enough. I mean, I remember seeing David Luiz scoring at the last second at Stamford Bridge in the Champions League with Paris Saint-Germain. And nobody complained about it. And the year after he came back, or 2 years after he came back to Chelsea, it's not really a problem for me. I understand that you have the right to celebrate. You are paid by your new club, and it's just fair. Well, normally the players, they don't celebrate, you know, the first year that they left the club. Then after, they feel free to do so. And in the case of Walcott, he was at Everton before. So I think he played for Arsenal quite a few years away, so it's not a problem for me.
I don't get this. I don't see what the gentleman's or what the person's interpretation of acceptable is. I mean, what's not acceptable about it? It's business. It's a career. Unless you left with a sour taste in your mouth and you asked for transfers and there was a fight, they sold him. They wanted him out. They wanted to get somebody better. Why wouldn't he celebrate? I'd have run the whole length of the pitch and slid.
Yes.
I mean, I don't understand. I mean, he's not an employee of Arsenal Football Club anymore. I mean, did Arsenal, you know, there was no, I don't know how many fans were there or whatever it was, but say there was a full house of 60,000 at the Emirates. What, did every one of those fans go, oh, Theo, don't leave.
Why do they call him Theo?
Theo, we don't leave, we love you. You're great every week, we never boo you. Nonsense.
Craig, is it hard for managers to manage playmakers? We see this around the leagues as playmakers cannot make the team, like Ozil, Isco, Dybala, Eriksen, etc.
De Bruyne. Ziyech recently at Chelsea. I suppose Salah and Mane are playmakers in some sense. David Silva was a bit of a playmaker. Bernardo Silva's been a playmaker. The list goes on. It's, you know, managers can manage these players. It's just whether these players are willing to work hard enough. I mean, we'll go back. Frank and I always hark back to one of our teammates, Gianfranco Zola, who was one of the best playmakers of his generation, but it was never hard to mould a team around Gianfranco Zola because guess what? He worked hard on the training field, which meant he worked hard on the field, which meant he was a team player, so it was less of a problem for managers. It's only a problem to manage when the player's lazy out of possession. Was that a good analogy?
You know, I think Dan, I think it's mostly the players in the dressing room who have to manage a playmaker. I remember that movie called Any Given Sunday, and when the quarterback is not, you know, considering the other player as important as you think he is, and they make him pay. And that's what it is, you know. I think I would have played with Gianfranco Zola without him considering our works, for him to be free and to only think about attacking in a way. I would have told him, and I would have done something maybe against him. But he was absolutely a perfect partner, so I didn't have to do that. But it's mostly about the dressing room to sort out the managing of the playmakers and not really the manager.
Well, because Eriksen
shouldn't be his problem.
Eriksen did okay for Tottenham for quite a while. He had a good run in that Pochettino good spell when they got to the Champions League final, and Eriksen was a big part of that. I can tell you something from experience, it's hard to play with two playmakers.
Right, because then you've got to run around and look after them.
We did at Celtic for a short period. I mean, a short period. Paul Lambert and myself, we had Lubo Moravcik, who was one of, and for those that haven't heard of Moravcik, Moravcik was an unbelievably talented player. He came in from, I think it was Slovakia, and I heard Henrik Larsson talking about him recently in a podcast, and Henrik said, he's one of the best, most talented players that he ever played with. And I mean, I'm including all the players he played with at Barcelona. You didn't know what foot Lubo kicked with, corners and free kicks with the left and the right. But unfortunately, at one point we had him and Ajo Berkovic. Yeah.
They're not going to work hard.
Yeah. Let's have a competition to see who's the laziest. And I remember saying to Paul Lambert.
Well, but look,
go on, Frank.
Look now, look now between Neymar and Paris and Mbappe in Paris Saint-Germain. It's almost impossible to work with those players because they are two playmakers. They want to do the show. There is a competition if they pretend they are friends, and they may be friends. But on the field, you can feel there is a competition. Who's going to score a goal? Who's going to shoot a penalty? Who's going to, whatever it is, we're going to make a last pass. It's complicated. You know, it worked between Neymar and Messi. It seems to work between Mbappe and Neymar, even if it puts trouble in the team because nobody defends. So it's complicated for the rest of the team. And they become a little bit selfish at some point.
Frank, can you just show me your quarterback impression again, please? That's quite impressive.
A quarterback impression?
Yeah, you did a quarterback impression.
What?
We were talking about any given Sunday. You were talking about the quarterback and you gave us a bit of a spiral.
Well, I don't know what to say anymore. I love quarterback.
You did it
it's very strange.
You didn't even realise you did it.
No. It's very strange about, if I talk about quarterback and American football, I love American football, but it's really strange the way players come on the field, where they have the substitute or the less important players who come first. Then you have some players who come, they are a little bit important, and it goes and goes until the quarterback, who is the best man, and everybody has to say, oh, the king is coming up, he's coming out. I don't like that. It's the teamwork, and I don't like that kind of degrees of importance in the same team.
Frank, are you after a new contract or something? I mean, you're talking about American football.
Right, final question.
Shut up! End the show. You told me you sent the producer a still picture, which is a big no-no.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't talk about the haircut. I could have talked about the haircut because I'm the one, but about the Smurf, the Mbappe Smurf, it's what you say in England, Smurf, and I don't know what he's doing, and maybe I should be the last to talk about haircuts, but I don't know what they do, guys.
Here's what I want to know. Right. Are we finished after this?
This is the final question.
No, but I don't mean extra time.
No, we're going to have to do other bits for other countries. So that'll be fun to do.
So we don't have to talk about American players where you're trying to shoehorn it into a show.
Do the guys agree with Zidane that Benzema is the best French striker ever? It's quite a statement, Frank.
Ever? No, it's what Zizou wants to compare generations. I mean, Papin was absolutely exceptional. Lacombe before him was exceptional. Jules Fontaine was still the best scorer in the World Cup because he scored 13 goals in the World Cup. Was absolutely exceptional. Benzema is absolutely fantastic. But it's another generation. Why does he want to compare?
Well, he's boosting his boy, isn't he, Frank? He's just boosting his boy. You can understand him doing that. He probably doesn't really believe it.
Well, he can believe it because Benzema is absolutely fantastic. He's maybe actually, right now, the best striker in France. Because he's been playing for like more than 10 years for Real Madrid. And we saw so many players, in competition with him, coming and leaving, and he was still there. And he scores and scores and scores. Ronaldo left, and he scored and scored and became the leader of the attack. Fantastic player. And you have the right to say he's fantastic, but don't compare with the others from the other generation.
That is it. We are done. Thank you very much to everybody. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about the best, of course. Lewandowski, Ronaldo and Messi all facing off in Zurich to be crowned the best ever. You want to say goodbye on that shot, Craig? Do you want to? Until tomorrow, then, be sure to join us then. Goodbye. We're off to deal with the snow, Craig. That'd be exciting. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.